Hello, everybody. We're live. Tonight is just me and Tom. Everybody else is busy tonight. And so let's get started.
Well, we may have some other people come in. We never know.
Yeah, we may have a few come in. You never know. Could be a surprise. Could not be. We'll see. But yeah. Thank you, Tom, for showing up. I know you've been a busy man. I understand.
I love doing this, though. So this is one of my highlights. So. We actually had some news this week. I've got some good stuff to talk about, so I'm excited.
Yeah. So I want to say hail to everybody that's been in the chat waiting for us. Orville Nation, Kitty Bear, Crazy Dutch Bastard, Tim Hayes, Techman Blade, Gap Stargate, and Martin Acosta Santana, and Cosmic Squirrel was here earlier, and Anthony Draven. Thank you guys for hanging with us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, so what's some of the news we have from physical media?
Let's see here. Where'd it go? I had it here and then I just lost it. The Andy Griffith Show is finally getting a complete box set because I just bought the first season. So, now I got to rebuy it again. Let's see here. There's a couple other good ones. The Many Saints of Newark is coming to 4K. That we already knew. Let's see here. There was some good stuff, and I just got to find it.
You're breaking up. I don't know if that's me or you.
You sound fine on my end, so who knows?
Yeah. You're breaking up there a little bit. I couldn't hear some of it.
Let's say there was some Scream news. That's what I was looking for. Okay.
We
got some Scream titles, or Shout Factory and Scream titles, I should say. The Temp from 1993, Whispers in the Dark from 1992, Weathering with You from 2019, The Awakener from 2018, and Mafi from 2019. But the big title coming from Shout Factory, one of their Shout Select titles in January will be Liar Liar. So
yes, Liar.
See what they add to that one, if anything. Let's see here. What else was there? Arrow had a few announcements. We're getting Shock, aka Beyond the Door 2. So that one's going to be an interesting one. The Mangler as well, which is coming from, I believe, a 4K master, if I'm not mistaken. Red Angel and Dillinger all coming from Arrow. Oh, and Sleep as well.
Cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I heard some of them. I don't know if it's me. It might be my freaking internet again tonight.
Well, what is the chat saying? Am I coming through okay, chat?
Yeah, you're breaking up. I'm going to hit refresh my thing real quick, so I'll be right back. So,
all right. Well, the Mangler's a 2K restoration, so okay. But yeah, so there you go. There's a couple of titles that are coming out. We also have Black Friday sales out there right now, so keep an eye out. A lot of great new titles are coming up on Black Friday sales. And we also have a movie called Black Friday featuring none other than Ash himself, Bruce Campbell. So check that out if not. While we wait for, is Greg back or is that his leftover? I don't know. Let's see here. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of news in the Blu-ray world. Those were the bigger deals going on right now. Juice, of course, we knew was coming to 4K. Galaxy of Terrors coming from 88 Films. You back? Maybe.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I think my headphones might be messed up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can hear you a lot better without the headphones in.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. I think it was my headphones.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. But I can hear you guys.
I say I'm not echoing back to myself, so I think we're okay.
Yeah,
let's see. So I pretty much covered all the major announcements, it looks like. Candyman, of course, is coming. The new one.
Yes, from Vestron, probably.
No, the new one from Universal.
Oh, I saw that the third Candyman is probably coming from Restaurant.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, because that's the only
Yeah,
one that isn't out there now.
yeah. It just says I
Um,
just saw that today.
let's see. I think we got some MVD news. Let's see if there's anything good here. No, nothing really there. Kind of a slow week in that tip. But I know we did hear of a few things that were coming out, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what else there was that I can't remember offhand. But
Did you hear about George Romero's Martin?
no, that's not the one I was thinking of.
Hmm.
There's another one or two bigger announcements, and my brain's just mush right now, and I didn't have time to completely prepare
That's
for the
fine.
show
Man.
today. Unfortunately, yeah. No, I did not hear that, but that's one that's has it ever been on Blu-ray before? Or no?
Second, what is it over in what is that place? Second Sight? Knows is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Second Sight. They're doing a 4K restoration of Martin. However, the museum, the George Romero Museum, has found the 3.5 hours black and white 16 millimeter print of George Romero's director's cut of Martin.
oh, interesting.
They just found it and they're sending it to the Rubenstein's people to get it digitized. So I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Interesting.
Yeah, because their Second Sight's doing the 4K scan, and it was due to be out, I think, in January of next year.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what they do with all that now.
Oh, the fog was one. I know that was one I was thinking of hearing of, and the fog, and there was another 4K one, but it's already out in other places. Oh, I think the Howling was another one that they might be doing too, but yeah, can't remember now.
Yeah. But that is all the things, and I can hear you much better now. I think my headphones
Good.
gave out on me. I have to buy new ones
Ruh-roh.
this weekend.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And I did get to watch Scream.
Yes, I heard you, and you said it looked pretty good.
Looks pretty good. I'm not so sure if it's from the negative or not, but it does look good. My only huge complaint is when are we getting the unrated version on Blu-ray?
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
And it's not that long. It's only a matter of a couple of shots. You can actually go on YouTube and see what differences there are. It's very subtle. But the home video for years was the uncut version.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Maybe even the first DVD might have been. I'm trying to remember now. I used to have it, but I don't think I have it anymore. I got rid of it when I got the Blu-ray box set. But no, the movie looks leaps and bounds better than it used to.
Yeah,
That part, it does. I'm not, like I said, again, I'm not so sure they went back to the original negative or not, but it does look so much better. The sound is the same as it was before. Sounds great. It was in digital age, so that part's not a problem. It could have used an upgrade, but it didn't necessarily need it.
right.
Outside of that, I was disappointed because I thought I had heard we were getting like a new 55-minute documentary on there. And what it ended up being is a 7-minute behind the scenes thing with mostly the new cast talking about their memories of Scream. And like most of them were probably 3 years old when the fucking movie came out. So like other than that, there's a couple of returning cast members on there, but they don't really get into anything that great. I think you have the box set that I have too with the 3 films and the 2 documentaries.
Yeah, with the first 3 and the 2 documentaries. Yeah.
So I don't, and neither one of those documentaries is carried over as far as I know. All you're getting for special features here is the new documentary and the standard stuff that was on the Blu-ray before and DVD. So none of that other extra goodies carried over from my knowledge.
That's
but other
why
than
I
that,
plan on keeping my box set.
yeah, I would. Even if it's just for those documentaries. And of course, I don't think they remastered 2 and 3 yet. I have no idea. And you know, Mike and I were talking about this a little bit too. And the one thing I didn't think of while we were on the show last week was they possibly just did the first one just so they had footage for the new movie.
Yeah.
That was another reason why I was thinking too. So I don't know if they even went back and bothered with the other discs, because I think Paramount is just re-releasing the old Lionsgate stock. And the reason I say this is because I tried my code for The Crow the other day. That fucking disc, the code was supposed to expire in 2015. It still went through, and Paramount owns it now. So whatever happened there, I think they just bought out Lionsgate's old stock is what they did,
Yeah.
or whatever. So like I don't expect those to get remastered anytime soon, which is a sad thing, but Paramount is way behind the curve on that. So we're probably lucky we got Scream 1.
Yeah. We can only hope for the other ones.
Because I'm not even sure where the rights to Part 4 fall right now. So
Yeah, that's because that's a fairly new one, and that was like
it was produced by the Weinstein Company.
Were they even involved in that one?
See, that's the thing. The Weinstein Company took it with them, and then all that stuff got reconglomerated later on. So they may have it. I'd have to check into it. I don't know the actual in and outs of that. But I think when they were doing all the sales and stuff, like I think now everything's under the same umbrella. So
Yeah.
I'd have to double check though.
That's crazy. But there's all the news for what we have for you guys for the social media and possibilities, hopefully. And Tyrell, thank you, man. He loves the show. I love doing the show too. It's fun hanging with you guys and Tom and everybody. So
yeah.
You want to go first? You want me?
I can because I think I might have brought more than you did.
Yeah, I brought 3. So, but
let's start with. Oh shit! Actually, I only have 1, 2. I only got 4 things. All right. Well, we mentioned the sequel to Beyond the Door is coming, right?
Yes.
Well, I actually watched the original Beyond the Door.
Yes.
It was one of the films I got from the Arrow sale. This, of course, film is notorious most of all for the movie that was that Warner Brothers sued over because it being so similar to The Exorcist. Now, watching the movie itself, it has very, very little in common with The Exorcist. So I cannot fucking believe they won that court case.
That's crazy.
There's only a couple things here that I can see where but I just don't. I would love to have been a fly in the wall in the courtroom when this happened, because if this was the case, we would never have the shit from like whatchamacallit. They make like the Transmorphers and Dune World and Asylum. Like we would never have Asylum Pictures now. I don't know how they got around this in the future after this, because I know Universal tried suing some of the shark movies for Jaws and stuff like that. And they actually won 1 or 2 of them. But like, again, this is one where I'm just like, if I was the guy who made this movie, other than maybe they tried to market it like it was The Exorcist, it is not. It is not really much like The Exorcist at all. Is it a good movie? Not really.
It happens.
It's pretty it's a slog to get through. It's not horrible. It has some pretty decent moments in it. Like they clearly are making fun of The Exorcist in one bit, because the one little boy, he loves pea soup for some fucking reason. So he's getting pea soup all over everything. So clearly that's making fun of The Exorcist. And there's a couple of shots here and there that you can tell we're inspired by. But I don't know if anybody in the chat's seen it. Have you ever seen it, Greg, or no?
No, I have not seen it, but Tim Hayes has. He says Beyond the Door 2 isn't a real sequel aside from having the same child actor in both, and he gets possessed in both. But no, I have not seen it, but I did see that on the Arrow sale, and I thought about picking it up.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the sequel, Tim, I know it's loosely a sequel, and it's only a sequel because it was released over here as Beyond the Door 2, I believe. But that's why I think Arrow's even releasing it as The Shock or whatever it's called. It has a more of a it's like a mix between like very little bit of Exorcist, a little bit of Rosemary's Baby, a little bit of, honestly, it is original enough that I cannot, like I said, I cannot believe that Warner Brothers won their lawsuit. I really can't.
It's kind of like the how John Carpenter sued that Lockout movie and won because he said it was so similar to Escape from New York, which I still can't believe that one like that as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
We got quite a few special features. So on that note,
sounds interesting.
I mean, for a B horror film kind of thing, it's really not that horrific. I mean, there's some some bits here and there, but it's an Italian horror film. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, them Italians. But that always gets me like when like sometimes you hear about these films, they're like,
That's
oh,
what I love about Italian films is like they've made so many of them, but it's like, did you guys ever watch a movie? Like actually watch one?
yeah. It's like you always hear these stories about how they're like so gruesome, so this, so that, and then you like watch them, they're like, well, I've seen worse.
I swear, Italian directors, all they ever watched was other Italian movies because it's like they don't know how a real movie goes. And there's always such random nonsensical shit in them and stuff sometimes. That's what I love about them.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is one of those movies where it's a fine line between it's a decent enough movie and it's not bad enough of a B movie. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of that mid ground, but yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Sounds interesting. I probably should check that out.
Yeah.
I saw it. It was one of the ones for sale, and I was like, I've never.
Yeah, I think it was the 15 or the 10. I can't remember.
Yeah,
it was one of the cheaper ones. Yeah, I didn't get very many in that Arrow sale, but that was one of them.
Neither did I. And the one I wanted to get, I missed out on again. So
I actually went back to the Kino sale.
Oh, did you?
Well, because I was waiting. They were my Silence of the Lambs was back ordered, but I got that in my last box coming. But I was waiting on a few other movies from Kino that they still hadn't gotten in, and one from Shout and stuff. So I canceled a few orders, and I seen Kino still had the sale going. So I went and grabbed the 2 Fritz the Cat movies and a couple other things real quick that I still didn't grab the last time. So I spent more money.
That makes sense though.
No, that Kino sale, they get me every goddamn
I know, man. They have so much good stuff too. It's just like old movies that you can hardly sometimes think about, and boom, they have them right there, and you're like,
I know that's the problem. They literally have hundreds of pages, and you go through it. It's like, holy shit! I never knew this was on Blu-ray. Holy shit!
Exactly.
It's like, granted, Kino is not great quality in some. They're at the mercy of whatever prints they get, but at least they put a little bit more effort out there than Mill Creek.
Yes. Our good old friends at Mill Creek,
who are
trying now with Street Fighter movie.
We'll see how that goes.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
I'll definitely be talking about that. So yeah, what you got for us?
Yes, Cap Stargate says Kino. How do you find him? Just type in Kino Lorber.com and you'll find him. Up first, I have for you. This is coming. Let me blow up my screen here.
We're gonna make Mill Creek a fucking meme before you know
it. Yeah. I have this from Dusk Till Dawn, which will be coming on 4K. I think next year.
Oh, maybe that's the one I heard about. Yes, because I've been hovering over that because I have the collection that has all 3 of the movies crammed on one fucking disc, and they look horrid. Or should I say 4 movies? Because I think it also has Full Tilt Boogie on there.
Yeah. And I just have the first one on Blu-ray. I didn't really care for the rest of them. Yeah. But yeah, now this one kind of falls in that Scream category because it was made by Miramax. So I don't know if it's Paramount that's putting it out.
I believe so, because is that a Lionsgate release there in your hands?
Yes, it is. It's a Lionsgate.
I bet you the digital copy will still work through Paramount. Yeah.
Yes, I already used my digital copy on this one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, did it. But yes, I believe it, and I know Robert Rodriguez is overseeing the 4K restoration of it. So
I'm glad I didn't rebuy it. Then that's good to know.
Yeah, and I've had this one since like it was brand new, so it's not like
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I've had this like I just grabbed it off the shelf real quick, and because kind of went along with what we talked about with Scream, so it was a lucky grab. But yeah, I really love that movie. It's a really good one, and it's just Quentin Tarantino, classic. Robert Rodriguez. I mean, vampires. It's awesome. Danny Trejo.
Great movie. Great fucking movie.
Great movie. And yeah, I probably will be picking up the 4K. Runner says I'll wait for the 4K. Yeah, if you don't have it, I'd wait for the 4K too because it's probably going to be pretty decent. We'll see how it turns out though.
I imagine it'll be on par with Scream.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I like this. Mill Creek is a budget label. Kino is corporate, but they have fair prices and DVDs and Blu-rays. Yes,
exactly. When they do collector's editions, they're decently priced. Where they just have bare bones Blu-rays, they're very decently priced.
Yeah. And but yeah, I always I mean I kind of like the second From Dusk Till Dawn with Robert Patrick. It wasn't too bad, but I just the first one was
The one with, I was gonna say, the third one is the prequel, right?
the third one. I think they go back in time. It's like a
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of setting the whole thing up because I remember that one being okay. I remember the sequels being okay, but they were still like they weren't even really like up to par of like the first two sequels for
yeah,
Tremors. Like it was, but yeah, no, that's a good one. I like that one a lot. Great
yeah.
soundtrack, great cast. Can't go wrong with it.
No, you can't. That's a good one. But yeah, that was my first pick of the night. So you know, if you guys like vampires, check that one out. If you've never seen it, it's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Um, what do you
um,
got for us now?
this next one I got here is a bit of an interesting one. I just learned about this guy not too long ago, and I vaguely remember hearing about him. But have you ever heard of Bill Ribane?
Heard of what now?
Bill Ribane.
No, I don't think I have.
Well, he is a Wisconsin filmmaker.
Oh, that's the weird Wisconsin. Yeah, I have.
Yes, and his movies are batshit insane, crazy, goofy shit. Now I have not watched really much of the movies that are in this box set, which contains 6 of his films, which contains almost his entire filmography. It's got a book and a documentary about him that covers his career, and a poster. But this set contains Monster a Go Go, Invasion Inner Earth, The Alpha Incident, The Demons of Ludlow, The Game, Twister's Revenge, and then the documentary. But one of the 2 movies I really want to get my hands on, and I did get a hold of one of them before this show, and watched it, is one of his more successful films, and that is The Giant Spider Invasion. This movie, of course, was made famous by Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah.
Now one of his more famous movies that is harder to find is actually a Sasquatch movie. But that one I haven't been able to get my hands on. But no, I actually enjoyed the spider film. It was kind of fun. It's one of his better films, actually, because Bill had a problem with like actors that would disappear on him and shit all the time. So like he'd have to introduce new characters 2/3 of the way into the movie. And a lot of his movies have like ambiguous endings with like voiceovers saying, you know, the confused, blah, blah, blah. And then you're just as confused because they're confused. Like it's all like because he had no idea how to end a movie. The Giant Spider Invasion, though, is probably, like I said, one of his most coherent, best works. I'm curious how many people actually have ever heard of him. Because, like I said, I was vaguely aware of him just because of where I'm from. But then I'm glad I became reacquainted with him again. And hopefully I can get my hands on the rest of his movies because I'd like to have the entire collection.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, I'm from Wisconsin. You know, it's kind of a thing.
That's like that set's the only wordplay thing that I've heard of him, and I've been wanting to actually get that set. But Pop Retro here says that he loves Bill Ribane, so he knows it. Yeah,
you'll probably dig these. They're very you know, the type of stuff you'd see on Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah,
that's like right up my alley.
He basically what he was is I believe he was, I don't think he was German, but he was from somewhere over there, some Slovakian country, and I can't remember which one it was, and I apologize. But he moved over here, and he always wanted to make movies, and like he got, you know, into it, and his whole thing was I can go make movies on my own. So he went and he fell in love with Wisconsin when he was up here, and he went and bought a ranch. So he had basically an entire movie facility, kind of like George Lucas before George Lucas. And we're talking, it had a full 9 yards, a bar, a restaurant, everything there for everybody. So, you know, places for everybody to stay, you know, a big, you know, like a old warehouse or a barn or something like that he'd use for a set, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, open fields for miles so he could do all his films. And like people said before he lost the ranch, like you go up there and you could still, because like one of the big spider that's in the Great Spider Invasion, or the Giant Spider Invasion, it was built on a Volkswagen. So like if you drove up there, you'd see like the old Volkswagen sitting out there with still the steel bits and pieces from the spider and stuff, but the rest of it's rotted away, you know, and shit like that.
That's crazy.
No, I don't have an accent, Timby, for two
Yeah.
reasons. I'm from a little bit more Southwest area. Plus, I've had radio training and stuff, so I've learned to do that mid-Atlantic or whatever, transatlantic fucking accent or whatever you call it. Sometimes I'll slip into it. You'll notice it once in a while. But I'm also good at like picking up like the don't you know, that kind of thing. That's a little bit higher up. They talk in Fargo and North Dakota.
Yeah,
Like that's a little
hey,
higher.
don't you know, eh?
The Yoopers and stuff up there into Yooper, you know, they're up there. They're a little higher. Yeah. They're up there above the Green Bay and all that stuff. Yeah. You know, like that, like, don't you know, like some of my aunts and stuff will say things like that. And, you know, I'll catch them with some thick accents once in a while. But for the most part here where I'm from, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
I'm like closer to the Madison area. So
I'm from Ohio. We have no accent. So
pretty much. You're right.
yeah. Gap Stargate says, how many DVDs and Blu-rays do you have, Tom? Have you counted them all?
Roughly, I don't really know because my DVDs I'm kind of sifting through right now and getting rid of a lot of them if I have duplicates. But overall, it looks like I have close to roughly 2,400 Blu-rays, I guess.
Nice.
Somewhere well over a couple hundred DVDs and over 300 4K Blu-rays.
You got way more than 4Ks than I do.
Well, I kind of pre-padded myself quite a bit. So at least a good third of what I have was stuff that, you know, I bought before I ever had a 4K player. But if it was something that didn't get a 3D release, I would just buy the 4K.
That's smart thinking, though. Smart thinking. And how many VHS tapes do I have? Well, I started
a lot more than me.
Again. Yes, now that I do. I probably got a good 200. I had a whole lot more. I probably had a good 1,000 of them that I bought from a yard sale, but I gave them away. You know, I was sifted through them and got the ones I wanted to keep and gave the other ones away because I didn't need them, and they weren't particularly good ones. So, but yeah, I probably got about like 200-300 VHS tapes right now.
But actually, this set's a pretty good price right now on Amazon. The Weird Wisconsin one is so. Yeah, if you'd like to pick it up, I recommend it.
Yes, I am. That's one I've been eyeballing. And there was another one, a guy who does movies like that, sort of like that, but in Florida. It's another set from them. I can't remember who that was, but yeah, I was like the Weird Wisconsin and the guy that did movies in Florida. It was like them two where I was eyeballing them because it's like movies right up my alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Runner. Well, you have never seen much of anything.
You don't even have a 4K TV yet.
Yeah. And Bryant Birth says, "Hail, Tom. It stinks that you can't do mead stuff."
Yeah, not for another week and a half or so.
Yeah, that does suck, man. I can't believe that keeps happening to you.
Tim Hayes says, "Is it William Greif or Grief?"
It might be. I don't know. I can't remember his name. That's the thing is, I see the sets and I don't remember the names of the people. You know. Yeah, he came from the swamp. Yep, that's him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called He Came from the Swamp. Yeah, that's him. Look, Tim Hayes, man, he's right on the ball.
There you go.
There you go. But that was a good set, and that is going on my list, Tom. That is going on my list.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Well, it's actually been on my list.
I mean, I paid a little bit more for it than what it's going for right now on Amazon, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so up next, I have a Shout Select that I think just recently went out of print, so it might be, I don't know. Roadhouse.
Actually, it's on sale, so it might
Is it on sale? I heard it was going out of print soon, so
yeah.
I got it a little while back.
That means they're probably doing a 4K.
Probably, especially with it being, one of his most popular.
It's a big seller, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, this is the collector's edition from Shout Select. It's got a really great 2K scan, some really good special features and stuff. And, I want you to be nice until you don't have to be nice. So it's a great flick. I love
Kevin Smith commentary back when he was cool. The poor Kevin Smith. What happened to him? He got
What
all
happened?
soy.
Hollywood.
All soyed out.
But
No,
yeah,
I like Roadhouse. It's a good movie.
it was a good movie. I liked it. It's just one of them crazy old. I thought he'd be taller.
Sam Elliott's good in it.
Sam Elliott. It's I mean, you can't beat the cast in it, and it's one of them just cheesy, over the top action flicks.
Scream's early 90s.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a
There's
good one.
mullets in there that have their own fucking zip code.
Got Terry Funk from wrestling, so
You got the what is it, the Jeff Healey band?
yeah. Jeff Healey, man, and then Monster Trucks.
Can't go wrong with it. Is a redneck dream movie, yes.
It is. And so when you live sort of out in the boondocks like I do, out in the near the south, so it plays well.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones that we tend to watch here all the time on TV. It's like when they replay it, it's like, everybody sit down, shut up, and let's watch it.
Well, that's one that the men love because there's a lot of kick ass in it, kicking ass and beating people up and shit. And the women love it because you got the double shot of Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott, right?
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't like Patrick, then you're definitely going to be a Sam Elliott type. And there ain't a woman alive that I know that don't go, oh, Sam Elliott, I love him.
That's true.
You say his name around women, they melt.
Exactly, it's true. It is true. It's true. And then plus, you get the double shot. You get Patrick Swayze naked for the ladies, and the blonde naked for the guys.
Yep,
so,
there you go. Yeah, it's
so it plays well for everybody.
Yes, just as Thanos would say, perfectly balanced.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
No, it's a well put together movie. It's like I said, it just great time capsule of that era. Probably I would imagine it's probably Patrick Swayze's biggest seller, even though I believe Ghost would be his bigger film. But yeah, no, it's a classic.
Yeah, it is. Ghost, you think? I would thought maybe Dirty Dancing.
Ghost made a shit ton of money. Yeah, well, true, Dirty Dancing as well. But I bet you that. Well, I know that one sells really, really well as well. So like that's the thing is, those two movies are probably his two best sellers. But as far as box office wise, I'm pretty sure Ghost made more money.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost was the big Oscar hit winning movie.
Yeah, it made like 300 million, I think, back then or something like that.
Yeah. I think Pop Retro says Roadhouse equals training for bouncers, according to my dad, who was bar hopping in the late 80s. You never know. So they probably use that as like their training tape. Pop it in. This is what I want you guys to do. I could see
Actually, it made more like 500 million. I was wrong. I knew it did really, really well, but I was like, oh shit, it did a lot better than I thought. Shit.
Damn. Yeah. It's just like this. That surprises you too. I mean, because Ghost is a good movie, but like,
that movie just killed. Well, and then like Roadhouse only made like 30 million at the box office, but it was a big video hit.
Yeah.
Now, Dirty Dancing I know did well, but I'm gonna guess in the 200 something. Yep, 214 million. So there you go. So yeah, it was way by a long shot with Ghost. I knew that was a huge fucking hit when that came out.
Yeah.
So I remember that being a sell-through when it came out too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
And then they just released, which I haven't picked up yet, Still Dawn, starring Patrick Swayze from Vestron.
I got that, but I didn't get to watch it yet.
Yeah, I haven't picked it up, and I've never seen that, so I don't know quite what that's about.
I half-ass remember it, but like, it's one of those movies I think I saw late night on like Cinemax or something one time.
Yeah, it's one of those, one of his bad ones.
I'm sure it'll be cheesy fucking fun.
Yeah, it'd be good. Just
my favorite Patrick Swayze movie is probably actually Tu Wong Fu, to be honest with you.
Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything.
I fucking love that movie. Between him and John Leguizamo in it, what's his face? Wesley Snipes is a little miscast. They should have tried to get like Eddie Murphy or somebody like that, or even Martin Lawrence maybe, or something.
Yeah,
somebody who can actually pull off a believable woman, because man,
he came
Wesley Snipes sticks. Yeah, he sticks out like a sore thumb in comparison to those two performances, right? Like Patrick Swayze and John Leguizamo are just, they own it, and it's a fucking hilarious film. And every time I talk about Cars, I always bring it up because it's the same fucking plot between that and Doc Holliday. It's basically the same plot they stole for Cars. So yeah,
Yeah.
between the two.
It sort of is, isn't it? I never really thought about that.
Yeah, it's just they took the two and combined them and made Cars. But yeah, no, Roadhouse is a great film, great soundtrack. Yeah, good cast. Who was the
Yeah.
bad guy in that movie too? I can't remember now.
Who's that one dude? Let me look at the case here real quick. Ben Garza.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't who I thought it was.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the appeal of Laserdisc was. I never really owned one, so I couldn't tell you.
What about Laserdisc? Sorry.
Brian Barth said, "What was the appeal of Laserdisc?" I said, "I don't know.
Oh, the appeal? A lot.
I never had one.
It was kind of a precursor to DVD. You had a much better quality picture, much better quality sound. Because at that time, you were at the mercy of tracking, and hi-fi stereo was not. It sounded good if you watched it on a machine you recorded on, but you're at the mercy of, a lot of elements when it comes to that. So between those two things, plus they had the option of widescreen in a lot of cases, and it's where special features started, audio commentary started, multi-track started, subtitles instead of just closed captioning and stuff like that, I believe also started on Laserdisc. As Glinzer says, letterboxing as well is a big thing for Laserdisc. Again, it was a big precursor to DVD. A lot of the functionality was similar, and it kind of was a stepping stone too. Even though the picture was technically analog, it was the first place to get digital, and they actually got AC3 or 5.1 surround sound near the end there. For a while, there was a big collector market for it because there was movies that weren't on DVD yet. So like there was a lot of Laserdiscs that were coveted, and not only that, there's still to this day some Laserdiscs that have special features and stuff that were never carried over. So
that's true.
There's still some that are worth a little bit.
You can even get the original Star Wars on Laserdisc, I believe.
Yeah, well, then that's the beauty is you can rip it a lot easier to a computer, and the picture quality is a little better than a VHS. But I mean, there's like Criterion did a whole lot of great discs and stuff back in the day too.
Yeah, that's true. And what about Point Break? They brought up too.
I like Point Break. I like it's definitely in my top 5 of his, but it's like, see, even Roadhouse to me personally is not one of my favorite of his films, but I know what that movie means to so many people, right?
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing with Point Break.
But I get where you're coming from exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with Point Break. It's a great movie, not one of my favorites. I actually like him better in the more comedic type role, and then the more romantic type role with Ghost and Dirty Dancing, and then I'd probably go to Roadhouse and so on down the line. But
it's not bad.
I like most of his movies though. I'm trying to remember a movie of his that I've ever seen that I didn't like.
Next of Kin.
No, I don't think I didn't like that one.
Red Dawn.
No, that's a good movie.
That's a good one.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of a Patrick Swayze movie I've seen that I didn't like. Right. So
like I said, I haven't never seen
that one where he had the dog and he was like the not like an angel, but he was like, I can't remember the fucking name of it. Even that one, as cheesy as it was all right.
Black Dog. Was it called Black Dog?
No. That was another good one, cheesy one though.
Yeah, I like that where he drives the semi truck with Meatloaf and Randy Travis. That's a damn good cheesy good movie.
Damn cheesy. But my cousin watched it. He's a trucker and he's like, that movie's bullshit.
Exactly. But it's a good one. It's a fun watch now.
Because here I am, I saw that movie and I'm like, oh, my cousin's gonna love this movie. And I said something to him about it. He's like, I saw it. I'm like, oh, I could tell by the tone. It's like it's a bunch of bullshit. You can't do that. He's just going on for like fucking half hour on stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah, Tim Hayes' Jaws did carry finally all the extras over. They had an edited version of the one documentary for the first release, and then after that, then they finally reinstated the entire thing. Rocky Horror is missing a lot still, even from some earlier DVD releases. It's dropped off a lot of stuff, and Disney just re-released it again, but did nothing to it.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like we talked before in here about it, is like,
and if any movie deserves a 4K and will sell on 4K, it's Rocky Horror Picture Show.
You would think that the fan base of that is like screaming for that 4K, but
literally,
Disney has it, so
yeah. and I've heard, and this is the thing that's pissed a lot of people off, it's been a lot harder to get it for like midnight showings and stuff. And they did promise that they weren't going to pull it and stuff, but I guess they did make it a little more difficult. So,
of course.
yeah, Brian Barth, hopefully Mead will return as long as I don't get another random strike between now and next year. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else you got tonight for us, Tom.
Oh yeah, it's my turn again.
Yes, it's going.
Should I save the best one for last? Yeah. This next one I had was interesting. Now I think when this was brought up before, I think Mike brought this on before. Demons 1 and 2 on 4K.
Oh, yes.
Which actually is for a pretty good price right now if you can get your hands on it. I thought I'd seen the second one before, but I'm thinking it's the first one that I actually saw. Because I saw the second one here on this one. I was like, I have no idea. I never saw this before, but the first one's familiar. But no, they're decent.
I like the first one.
I do like the first one better. The second one has some cool shit in it, though. Here's the thing with the second one. It's like if I go back to watch one, it might be the second one because I love the little monster guy in this.
No, the little kid monster thing.
Yeah, like that's like that little creature really. So like, because up to that point, I'm like, this is fucking boring. It's the same fucking movie all over again. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, oh come on. This is getting ridiculous. And then all of a sudden this little creature shows up and I'm like, all right, I'm fucking in now. And then like it's there for like a good 20 minutes through that whole bit. And I'm just like, this fucking movie rocks. Like, so the first one now is, even though that's the better film overall.
Yeah, I like the first one.
The second one to me is the one that I'd probably have more rewatchability.
Yeah. It's been a while. I haven't seen the second one in a while, but I've watched the first one for the first time not too long ago. So,
and they're very what do you call it? They're very tangentially connected as far as the sequels go.
Yeah.
Because again, it's one of those movies where it really is like a remake of the first movie until that third act. The only difference is the first movie. Okay, for those who don't know what these movies are even about. It's basically a zombie movie.
Yes.
But instead of being zombies, they're referred to like as demons or whatever.
It's
but basically
sort of like Evil Dead, maybe.
Kind of like a mix between Evil Dead and a Romero Dead movie. Yes.
Yeah, there you
go. That's a pretty good way of explaining it because, like, yeah, the first movie is about a movie screening and the movie is haunted. And this one chick puts on a mask that's in the lobby that's supposed to be part of the movie, but it turns out it is actually, you know, a real mask or something like that. And so like she turns into a demon and anybody she scratches or bites turns into a demon. So it's very, you know, Night of the Living Dead kind of setup. And these people get trapped in this theater and, you know, chaos ensues, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yep.
The second film is almost the same exact thing, only instead of it being in a theater, this time it's in a high-rise apartment complex. And it's a movie showing on TV. And I'm not so sure if it's different actors or not, or the same ones, but it almost seems like it's the same fucking movie just continuing on that they were watching in the other movie. And I'm probably right. I don't know for sure, but like it's really weird because it's like there's bits and pieces of it that make it feel like it's a sequel. Then there's other times where it feels like a completely different thing altogether, but it clearly is a sequel. Like there's no arguing that part. It is basically a lot like that, especially 2. Like that opening bit from Dawn of the Dead in the apartment building feels a lot like that.
Yeah.
And then you have the same kind of thing where the people got trapped in the theater. You get that they get trapped in the apartment building for some fucked up reason, which makes no sense.
It doesn't.
But hey, and then they like do all kinds of crazy shit for like 20 minutes. And that was where the movie's starting to lose me. Okay. I'm just like, this is just a lot of like, just stuff feeling like filler happening until that little monster came in. And then when that little monster came in, I'm like, these fuckers, they pulled it off at the last bit there. Bravo. You put the effort in there. I mean, and some of the effects are fucking amazing in this movie, right?
Oh, yeah,
like,
the Italians, man.
Yeah, I mean, and the blood and if you're a gore fan, but you love cheesy B kind of stuff, and you're into movies like Dawn of the Dead and Evil Dead, this is right up your fucking alley. These transfers are superb. not amazing, but superb. Not as good as like a Blue Underground transfer, but definitely up there with some of the betters. Multiple language tracks, of course. You can listen to it with the original Italian, and it's got English and a couple other things, I think, or maybe just English and Italian anyway.
Which one released this?
Oh, this is a Synapse.
Synapse. I know. I think Arrow just released. Well, it wasn't American release. It was the just for UK release 1 and 2.
I think you're right. But this is an ABC region disc, and like I said, right now Amazon actually has it for a pretty good price. In fact, it's such a good price, and they did it so close to the movie coming out that I got a hold of them and bitched until I got my $20 back. Nice. I told them, I'm like, you fuckers do this to me all the goddamn time, and I don't care about $2-3, but when you're gonna drop the price by $20 fucking dollars, you bet your ass I'm going to say something.
Don't blame me, man.
And I wasn't a dick about it, but I just said to him, I'm like, yeah, you guys dropped the price of this, and their price match thing only, I think, goes like a week after. So they make sure that they don't change the price for a week after. And this always happens. But again, in this case, this is one of those rare occasions. And so I got a hold of their customer service, and they're actually pretty good about it. But I flat out told them, I'm like, look, you guys put this out. I bought it, and I paid $20 more than what you guys have it listed for right now. It was just over a week ago, like a week and a day or whatever it was, because they do this every time. I said, and normally I don't care, but in this case, it's $20. I would like a refund on $20. Otherwise, I'm going to send this back and get it from somewhere else, I said. And without hesitation, they said, no problem, we'll give you the $20. So in that case, they didn't hassle me. So yeah, right now you can get the two films, and it's a really good price, actually. It's like 50 some bucks.
Yes. Like
so if you stop and think about it, that's like just over $20 a disc for 4K discs. That's really good. And it's got reversible art on the inside here. So I got it.
They're really good movies too. So, and like if you've never seen Italian horror and you've been wanting to get into it, this is where you start.
And then the other version, I believe, is just the same as this. So yeah. But yeah, they're actually pretty good. Like I don't know the next time I'll watch them again, or if I'll actually watch both of them again, but I definitely will return to Demons 2 again before I ever go back to 1. Great soundtrack, especially the first one.
Yeah.
There's like some really great big hits on this, like White Wedding and a few other things. Definitely, that Motley Crue, I think, was on this, and God, I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, the first movie specifically had a ton of big artists on it.
Yeah. And good night, Gap Stargate. Have a good night. Thank you for showing up.
And I'm down to my last one now.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, if you like I said, if you've wanted to get into Italian horror, Demons is a great way to start.
It's a very good place to start because it's very similar to a Romero film in that respect. Yeah.
And there's actually a third one. Well, there's actually multiple third ones, depending on who you believe or which one you want to follow.
I believe Black Demons is the closest thing to an actual third one from my research.
That
because
one
it actually has the same director, I believe.
Yeah, and then they always cite the church as a third one too. So you're like, okay.
Mike says the Arrow set is nearly identical. There you go.
Yeah, and then the Arrow set's going for like almost $200 right now. So
silly.
That's a good price to get.
No, I've learned pretty quickly that in this day and age now, and I'm sure Mike knows what I'm talking about, a lot of times when a lot of these companies announce that they're going out of print, it's because they're going to end up releasing them in 4K, or some other company just got the rights to them.
Right.
Because it's never failed that I've gone out of my way to spend a bunch of money on a disc, and there's only been like 2 or 3 instances that I can think of where it has not gotten re-released. And I felt really dumb for spending an extra 20, 30, 40 bucks on a disc.
And don't you hate when it happens too, when you do that?
Well, sometimes it works out because of special features, especially if they change hands. But like, in the Shouts case, like I've become very leery on spending a lot of money on a Shout one, because I've learned pretty quickly that generally when they're sending something out of print, they're just going to be pumping out a 4K version or a new version of it in some way.
Right. I believe that. That's true. For my final one of the night, one a little different with you guys here. It is 4K, but it's the Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood on 4K, baby. I love this movie. This is such a classic. Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman.
I know
So
that's been a
good.
tougher one to get your hands on 4K. I'm glad you
I
found it.
know. I actually got lucky with this because
Not impossible, but tougher.
it's not impossible, but like it was at a time when it was going for like almost $50, and I got it for like 25.
Yeah.
So it's one of them one that's kind of fluctuates on when and how you can get it.
I wouldn't freak out and go spend a bunch of money on it if you can't find it though, because
Oh
I'm betting $5 they'll end up putting out like a 4K Clint Eastwood set at some point here. I would not be surprised in the least. But no, it's one of my favorite films of all times.
Oh yeah.
Amazing fucking cast. One of those movies that I could like. It was one of those movies that whenever I saw it on TV, no matter what I was doing, if I flipped and it was on, I had to stop.
Especially like when it gets to like near the middle of the movie too, if you're like catching it right there, you can't leave without watching it.
Deserves got nothing to do with it.
Yes. I love this movie. And I love that this comes with a Maverick episode, a Duel at Sundown, where Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I love that. It's got some great special features on this. And this is just like an all-time classic Clint Eastwood movie.
The duck eye says.
That's so good, man. And it's like, he sticks well with his like character with no name and all that. It just works so well.
Yeah, that's what I love about it, is that's one of those headcanon things you can do, and it works really well, like you said, that you kind of figure in a previous life that's basically what he was doing until he met the right woman and settled down and all that kind of
stuff. They
stuff.
could say it's like he's this outlaw and he's got these kids and that she's dead, and so he has to go out and do this.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is more recent in his life anyway, so there's a lot of stuff we didn't see, right? Like, so you can do that. Like, you can figure, like, we saw him when he was younger, then he probably did a bunch of other stuff with Morgan Freeman's character and stuff like that. And then now we're just seeing him at the latter part of his life, because this has only been like the last decade or so of his life, because his kids are pretty young.
Right.
And his wife, didn't make it that long. So he tried to make a difference, and it all kind of blew up in his face in a way. And it's a great movie. And this is the movie that Rian Johnson should have watched before he made The Last Jedi.
Probably, but he would have still found a way to fuck that up.
Well, it's because most of that is there, and that's what it's missing, is that ending beat, right? Like that part where Clint Eastwood's got zero fucks to give.
Yeah, and he just like tears through them.
And he thinks, this might even be my ending, right? Like, right. And that's the way Luke had to be. It was like that grizzled, like, I don't want to do this. But then when he gets to, when push comes to shove,
yeah, he's got to do it. He's got to, even if it's his demise.
Exactly. I wouldn't call Unforgiven the last Western movie, Brian. There's been quite a few since then. Unforgiven or Tombstone, not a fair comparison.
I don't want to choose, but they're both excellent movies.
Two totally different movies in the same type of genre, right? Like that would be like asking, oh, which one do you like more, Blazing Saddles or Silverado? Like even though they're both Westerns, right? But they're two completely different type of comedy Westerns.
Unforgiven is more like the serious side, and Tombstone is more like a fun action-packed Western.
Yes. Tombstone is the best of its type.
Yes.
Okay, and Unforgiven is the best of its type. How's that? Does that work?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Because Unforgiven and Tombstone are two of my favorite films of all time.
Oh yeah, two classics. Awesome. See, I wanted to bring something like that on the night because I always do a lot of horror.
Beautiful transfer too, by the way.
Oh yeah, it is beautiful. It plays perfect. But like I always bring on a lot of horror movies and stuff. But I do have other interests and other tastes in horror movies too. And this movie is a fantastic.
Mike's in the chat. Did he shoot Unforgiven in 70mm? Because it looks
Mike
really good.
Yeah. If Kathleen Kennedy remade Unforgiven, the hookers would kill everyone.
Well, that's the beauty of the film, is he's almost kind of on a quest out of, because by the time they get to town, the story has gotten so away from them, right? Like, You know, they're like, oh, not only they cut her face off, they cut her tits and they cut her cooch and all. Like,
Yeah, they
and you
did bad
see her,
shit
and
to
she's
them.
not that bad. Like, even, you know, that's the whole thing between her and Clint. Like, they even kind of have their little moment. Like, you know, things were different. You know, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful, fucking brilliant fucking movie, though. It just thinking about it now, I want to go watch.
yeah, it's good. It makes you want to watch it. I love it. I love it. It's just this, and like you said, this is a great 4K, and I got the Blu-ray and the 4K, and it's if you want a really really good Western to watch, and just go watch Unforgiven.
It's Clint's best movie, hands down. I mean,
Yeah,
there's no debating that. I don't think that anything comes close. I mean, he's done some great fucking movies, but for
definitely.
my taste, like, to compare anything to it, you'd have to go back to like things like The Good and the Bad, the Ugly. You'd have to go back to some of his other 70s, you know, like
Yeah, like
Josie
the Outlaw
Wales.
Rosie
And
Wells.
yeah, exactly. You have to go back to those and
High
compare it
Plains
to stuff like the
Drifter.
High Plains Drifter. All those compare to Unforgiven, and it's better than those. But like, yeah, Tombstone, I would put that more in the vein of something like Silverado, and, you know, where it's that kind of action, more oriented kind of, you know, not comedy and on Tombstone side of things, but there is in Silverado, right?
Right.
But it's a little bit more tongue in cheek than it is the straight up serious, dead serious
Mm-hmm.
Western. I mean, Tombstone does kind of
It
waver
gets
that
dark in some
line,
points.
but it still has fun. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's the thing.
You've
Is like,
got Val Kilmer's performance for one,
mm-hmm.
and what's his face? Game over, man. I can't
Yeah.
remember his name.
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton. You know, those two's performances are brilliant and fun, and they really bring some levity to the film.
And if there's another movie that needs a 4K release,
Yes, now that
Tombstone
fully restored, the
with
Kurt Russell cut,
yes,
please.
yes, that would be amazing. I would love that, and to hear some, some really great special features about how he directed that and all that.
Because there's like a 4-hour cut that exists of that movie, I
That
guess.
would be an amazing cut. Brian Barr says, "Why are some 4Ks more movies more expensive?"
It all depends.
Yeah, it depends on like if it's a boutique label or how much work went into the restoration.
Yeah, and it's not cheap to do. To do
Yeah,
a 4K restoration, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes. So
yeah. So they
for
have to
them to
like go back
pony up
and
for it, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say like they have to go back and like almost redo the movie. So
It
it's like an
is. It
extra to
really
the
is.
budget.
And that's why a lot of these companies will have like a Shout Factory or Arrow or whatever kind of help amortize the cost of it. Like, they'll let them do a release with the 2K version of the 4K scan, like Criterion or some of those guys, and then later they'll do their own version, or like Kino just released like Silence of the Lambs, even though, you know, Criterion just did the 4K version as a 2K disc. Now we have the Kino releasing the actual 4K version. So
Yes.
so basically MGM just kind of amortized the cost through those two companies, basically, because MGM is fucking non-existent at this point, basically.
Yeah, Amazon's got all that shit now. So
That's where they're hanging in the wind, hoping that Amazon gets to buy them out. I mean, Bond didn't make any money. I guarantee you they're fucking broke. I don't think MGM has released a 4K Blu-ray period outside of maybe one or two Bond films, and I think Sony actually released those, if I'm not mistaken. So
oh
I don't
yeah,
even know, because I think
I never
Sony
thought
owns
about
the
that.
home
Yeah.
video. I think Sony owns the home video release rights for the newer films. Yeah, because that's the other problem, is the Bond rights are all over the fucking place. MGM only sees the U.S. box office, so they're
Yeah, it's like
even.
Warner Brothers has part of it too.
I don't know about Warner Bros., but I know Universal does. Outside of the
Mhm.
U.S., they own the distribution, and Sony had a piece. I don't know if Sony does
I know.
anymore, but
I was thinking the Rocky movies had Warner Brothers, the newer ones. That's what I was thinking. I don't know how I
Tim,
got that
and we
confused.
learned on this show with Mike, and we did some research, and yeah, MGM actually lies to us about a lot of their HD masters, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you.
Yes, much like you found out with your Overboard, because you had the
Yeah.
original Blu-ray of Overboard, and then you bought the Olive films?
No, not Olive, but was it Olive?
I can't remember if it was Olives or I can't remember
I don't
the
think it was
name.
Olive. It was the other company, I think.
Yeah,
It's not Kino, but it was one of the other ones.
Yeah, they did the true
Michael,
2K
no.
upscan.
Or was it Kino?
I'm thinking maybe it's not Synapse. Why am I thinking Olive though? I'm thinking Olive.
Oh, Severin. That's who did it.
Severin, that's what it is.
Thank you,
Severin.
Tim.
Yes, Severin. I don't know why I was thinking Olive Films. But yes.
And Mike, I think, was the one who told us that and got to the bottom of that for us, if I remember correctly.
Yes, because he talked to the people, Severin people at a convention. So he told them that MGM just upscales their DVDs to Blu-ray.
Yeah, and I think they even do the same thing for their 4K versions on digital.
I believe that. Yeah, so that was it for me tonight. Did you have one more?
I do, and it's a doozy.
Okay, let's see the doozy.
Howling. Comes with a beautiful book, some lobby cards. Whoops, wrong way. Poster of the new art. A nice 3-disc set. Of course, the 4K version is region free as always, but these two are region locked, so keep that in mind if you do get this set. But there's a great new documentary about Joe Dante on here. This documentary, oops, wrong way. This documentary here, I haven't got a chance to see yet, but I've heard good things about it, the Frankenstein Complex. The movie looks brilliant. I'm pretty sure they went back to the original negative. This is probably, I think the Shout Factory version came from a 4K scan, so it's probably the same scan, but this, of course, has HDR grading and all that kind of stuff on it. The sound, I believe, was just the same 5.1 mix that Shout had before and whatever previous mixes there was prior to this. But this is put out by Studio Canal. Awesome. But yeah, decently priced right now if you can get your hands on it. I think it's like going for roughly $40. So yeah, good set. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie or not. I'm assuming you have.
Yes, I've seen it. Howling. You broke up. My internet broke there right when you was asking the question. It broke up there, but yes, I've seen the Howling. I actually own the Scream Factory version of it. It's really, really, really good. I love the Howling.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is carried over here, but just I do have that version downstairs. I should have brought it up with me. But it's got the new Inside the Career of Joe Dante. That's what I was talking about. Other than that, it has Welcome to Wolfland, deleted scenes, outtakes, and then the bonus documentary. So there you go.
It's awesome set. I like the way it looked, and I was curious about that one because I know they had been touting that and that was coming out, and I know Mike, he had it ready, pre-ordered, ready to go. So I was wondering how it was going to look and everything. So it looks good.
The rumor is that it is going to be coming from Scream. So if you want to wait, you might be okay. I wouldn't be surprised. Scream has always done a lot of Howling 1 stuff. They even have the statue still.
Yeah, I did see that.
And I heard a rumor they're going to do it early next year or something like that. So I wouldn't go too crazy. But like if you find it for that decent $40 price and you really want it, if you have a region free player, go for it. Because otherwise, the only thing, like the other Blu-rays are not going to, the DVD's not going to play. I think all the same special features are on the 4K at least, though. So they were nice enough to do that.
Well, at least they did that. That's cool. Because I hate sometimes when they just put the movie on 4K and then all the special features are on the Blu-rays.
And I don't know if that other documentary is available anywhere else. So again, it all depends on how you want to grab it or if you just want to wait and see what Scream does. Because I think they might be releasing it later next year. Or earlier next year, I think is the rumor.
Well, I'll keep an eye out because that is one set that I've been wanting to get. That I've been looking into that. Like here lately, I haven't really bought a whole lot here lately because it is getting close to that certain time of year, and so
a lot of those sales are actually started already.
Yes, a lot of them sell. So I've been keeping an eye on them. Plus, I got to buy for the family and everything.
A few things already for from Best Buy and or Walmart and Best Buy and Amazon all had a couple Black Friday sales and they're matching prices and stuff. So yeah.
Yep. So I've been holding off on buying a whole lot of new stuff lately because, like I said, that's coming up and their sales are out there, and I got to see what I got to get the family and what I can ask for from the family. So I know, like Weird Wisconsin, the Howling,
They don't need shit.
Well, I gotta get
They
them.
never
so
buy me nothing I want anyway.
So when I ask for what I want, they'll give me those so I can get them those. It's a whole
See, you
thing.
got a nice family.
Yes,
Mine
I do.
just
So.
like, here's some fucking socks. Happy Christmas.
No, our family tends to
eat some chicken wings.
I mean, I got the Friday the 13th box set for Christmas last year from my brother and his wife. So.
Which actually I saw that on sale recently too.
Yeah, it's gone down in a good price. I'm glad they got that price down for those people out there.
I'm still upset because Paramount, speaking of them, because we talked a little bit about Scream and stuff earlier, they've been notorious, as you know, as we brought up before, they'll do some 4K scans, but they'll only release a Blu-ray and then they'll throw the 4K scan up for digital. They've been really hit and miss with that lately, though, because they have 4 of the Friday the 13th movies they could release in 4K. They still haven't put up 48 hours or another 48 hours in 4K yet. Breakdown is, Nashville is, but there was a couple other titles I can't remember offhand that they brought out that they don't have out yet in the 4K version, but they have the scans of them. Golden Child they have out, and Airplane are the other 2 or 3 that I can think of. But yeah, so there's some that are out there digitally in 4K, but they've been hit and miss on a lot of them here lately. And like, speaking of Friday the 13th, that's what reminded me. I was like, because it'd be really nice to at least get the first 2 plus 4 maybe in 4K, because I'd only watch 3 in 3D anyway. But there's those Shout or Scream Factory discs are a huge improvement over the old Paramount scans. So like, I'd love to see what the 4K scans of those look like. I bet they look great.
I bet they do. What about what's that one? Did Paramount Trading Places? Did they do that one?
That one you can get I got that digitally in 4K, and I got that one in Golden Child.
And what about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Not yet. I've been keeping an eye on it, but now here's the thing. Now, is that one that's coming out here, is that a re-release or is that the new 4K scan? Because I think that I think they used a 4K scan from a while ago. See, now that's one I think that's an older scan.
Right.
Not 100% sure on that, because like, same thing with recently I got the Columbia box set, and the Taxi Driver that's in there, that scan is from 2009.
Jeez.
But
you think they could have updated that one a little bit?
Well, I guess they did such a good job on that restoration that and there was a couple other movies in there that what was the other, Oliver had also been restored a couple times already, but they don't have the negative for Oliver anymore. Stripes was the original negative, and I can't remember the rest, but most of them were from the original negative except for Oliver. And I think that one's it on this new set. So no, so far I've only been able to check out Stripes, and I haven't even got to watch the whole movie. So that one's one I hope to bring on here soon when I get through them. Yeah,
when you get, because I remember you brought on the last one, and that one.
Yeah, and I still even got to watch all
those. Are awesome. Like, so I'm definitely having my eyes on them as well. But I did hear we might get and it's different than what we were just talking about, but Christmas Vacation on 4K.
I did see that. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a big seller for Warner. I heard Christmas Story, I think, too, but these are next year. See, they're already prepping movies now for next year, and that's how far behind they are. Because I think the turnaround used to be, and please correct me if I'm wrong if you're still in the chat, Mike, but I think there was like a 180-day window it used to be to get a movie from, just starting the process to getting it out on the shelves. And now that things are so slowed down, they're like almost a year behind. So like, because normally they would start planning the Christmas stuff, to my recollection, would be like in that June area. We'd start getting some stuff like back in the day, I remember. But like, I could be wrong on that. Mike will have to correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I mean, I know the window has shrunk significantly on getting a movie to disc than what it used to be. Now things that are slowing it down are the facilities.
Yeah. There's only one facility left in America, and that's in Indianapolis or Indiana. I can't remember.
Something like that. And then there's only 2 authoring houses left too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like everything else is made in Mexico. It's other places.
I think there's a Canada plant too. And then a lot of it's been coming from Germany too.
Yeah.
Because like my my Halloween box set, like each one of the discs came from like somewhere else. It's funny.
No wonder that it took so long to get out
Yeah.
to you guys.
Like they must have shipped like the first movie off to the US plant, and then I believe 2 came from Canada and 3 I think came from Germany. Because I got the stickers right on them that say made whatever, and then I think 4 was in Mexico, and maybe I think 5 was in Germany as well, or something like that. But yeah,
That's fun times.
there's some variation thereof that I just said, but like yeah, they're from all 5 of them from different places for the most part, except for like 2 of them I think were from Germany or something like that. But yeah.
That's fun times. But yeah, I think that's all we got for tonight. I mean,
I don't think anybody else is popping in, so
yeah,
might as well
it's a little bit of a shorter one tonight. Everybody, most of our crew couldn't make it tonight. Tom was busy, and I hated to have to pull you away from them, Tom, because I know you're hanging out with Latino Slant and Robert Meyer Burnett is a good gig.
Yeah. And yeah, it's always fun doing this either way. So hopefully I have some more fun stuff to talk about next week. Try to get time in to watch movies. That's my thing, is I try to watch these before I talk about them, because I hate getting on here and having like zero to talk about. Because I mean, even though we didn't really talk much about The Howling itself as a movie, the movie still holds up. It's really well done film.
It's good.
What's funny about this though, now I'm glad I brought this up, Greg.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this takes me back to one of our original shows here, or at least ones I was doing with you guys.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until this viewing how much that vampire movie rips off from this movie. It is almost a complete replica, except for it's more comedy and it's vampires. Sundown or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah, Sundown, yeah.
Yeah, it's the fucking story is almost complete ripoff.
Yeah, now you think about it, it really is, isn't it? It is.
I'm watching it this time, I'm like, fuck, this is the same movie.
It is. It really is when you really think about it.
Like, holy shit. But yeah, I can't believe I'm sure somebody at some point made the comparison, but I can't believe my own mind, though, watching and talking about the few times we had before this, because I adored that movie. That movie is a great movie.
Yeah.
And I love The Howling, too, but like, it just never dawned on me how similar they were until this time I watched it. But yeah, no, it's a great movie. It's a very simple film, not nearly as good as the other werewolf movie that came out this year, but hey, if The Howling would have come out any other year, it would have been the best damn fucking werewolf movie that year. Because aside from American Werewolf in London, it has some of the best effects.
Oh, it does.
For a werewolf film. I love the design of the werewolf. Yeah, it's different.
The edge I give to The Howling over American Werewolf in London is that, like we've talked about before, it's bipedal. Their werewolves are bipedal. And
yeah, I like the design. I really do like the design. Like, again, still, I would say the special effects and the wolf effects look so much better in American Werewolf in London.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But Joe Dante does a really good job with shooting monsters. Okay. And that's why Gremlins is one of my favorite movies of all time, is because he knows how to use the camera to either hide or show just enough. And until the day of DVD, like, there was stuff in Gremlins I never noticed until DVD. Like, he did such a good job that, for the most part, there's only like 3 or 4 scenes where you can actually see some of the mechanism or the puppet stuff, or the marionette strings or anything like that. Like, it's very rarely, like, so he did a really good job there. And in this film here, he did an excellent fucking job. In fact, there's a really great stop motion shot that's cut out of the movie that I can't believe they didn't leave in.
Really?
Yeah, that it's in the deleted scenes, and it's got Dee Wallace. She's walking through the woods, and then out of the left walking to the full view of the werewolves. But they're, because they only have like, I think, 1 stop motion shot left in the movie, but this would have been another stop motion shot.
Yeah.
But the one that's in the movie is a little bit more hidden. That's probably why they didn't use this one. This one didn't have any smoke or anything. Like, maybe if that's what he wanted, because it looked too stop motion-y. But see, I don't have a problem with that. So
neither do I. It's when they're driving away, right? And they're
in the one that's in the movie.
Yeah, the one in the movie. Yeah.
The other one is just them walking out from behind a pair of them walking out from behind a tree. right after D. Wallace walks through. So yeah. Anthony Draven asked, have we seen Dog Soldiers? No, I've not seen it, but I'm well aware of it.
I have, and I own
I'm
it.
sure you have.
I own it. I unfortunately do not own the Scream Factory version, but I own the original Blu-ray that they released. So I own it, and it is a really good one. And the werewolves in that are pretty good. The transformations aren't as good as like The Howling or that, but it's a really good werewolf flick. And then like even they say it's basically Predator meets I can't remember what the other one is, but yeah, it's really good. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. It's one of the better modern day werewolf movies because we don't get too many good werewolf movies.
I just haven't got a chance to see it, and that's my thing. Is like on the list of monsters, werewolves are kind of way down there.
See, that's my I love werewolves.
No,
I like them more than vampires. But
yeah, to me, they'd actually be below vampires. So my 2 or 3 favorite werewolf movies are like The Howling, American Werewolf in London, and then maybe I'm trying to think, one of the classic Wolfman movies or something. Now, here's the thing: is I didn't like Jack Nicholson's Wolf when it came out, but I've been wanting to rewatch it because I saw some video on it about how the movie was completely destroyed in the rewriting process and during filming and all this shit. Yeah. The original film's intent was completely changed. So I'd like to rewatch it and see how it flows again, still knowing that going into it. Because when I saw it when I was younger, it just was like a throwaway movie to me. But now I think I'd look at it a little differently now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I like Jack Nicholson and Wolf.
Exactly. I like Jack. I like Michelle Pfeiffer. I wanted
James
to like
Spader was pretty good. So
yeah, Spader's good.
Yeah. But yeah, I will say it's not. I mean, I like to when I watch a werewolf movie, I like to see a transformation into a werewolf. Where I prefer bipedal, but if it's done like American Werewolf in London, that's fine. That was like my biggest problem with the Jack Nicholson Wolf movie was like it's just he gets sideburns.
So. Yeah, and the other thing with the Howling, another plus for the Howling fans at least is you get a lot, or werewolf fans, I mean, with the Howling, is you get a lot more werewolves.
Yeah, and you get a whole town. So
yeah, and in American Werewolf in London, it's all leading up to that big transformation, and there's 2 scenes with the werewolf all together.
Yeah,
that we actually see. See, now to me, it's like they are so different films. I hate that they get compared so much.
I know, yeah. I think it's the whole scene, like when he transforms and when Robert Picardo transforms, is what people try to compare the most.
Yeah, it's just because of the grand transformation. I think that's the main thing. Because otherwise, if you take that aspect out of the werewolf aspect of it, they're 2 completely different movies. Even though the funny thing is Howling has actual scenes and callbacks to the original werewolf movie, American Werewolf in London has more in common with the original Universal horror film.
It does, yes.
and the Howling treats all that shit like, oh, that's just nonsense. The real fact is this: there's only 2 ways to kill a werewolf, otherwise you're fucked. And I love that shit with Dick Miller. And it is such a Joe Dante film, right? And that's the great thing about American Werewolf in London is it is such a what's his face? I just forgot his fucking name. John Landis. John Landis film, right? It's 2 completely different voices, 2 very different tones, but similar at the same time because they're both like a little gonzo, right?
Yeah, they're both like a little got comedy to it and everything.
Exactly. But see, Dante's comedy is a little bit more Looney Tunes as opposed to, Landis, who is a little bit more tongue in cheek and a lot of his humor comes out of, the absurdity of it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Plus, in The Howling, you got a town full of character actors, old character actors from old movies turned into werewolves. So there's that comedy, that offbeatness stuff from Dante.
Yeah, it definitely has that off kilter Dante feel to it, right? And it is almost a spiritual. Even though the sequels he had nothing to do with, to him, Gremlins is the more spiritual sequel, right? There's so much in Gremlins that is kind of the flip of this, and then you also have the same exact actor playing the same character in the reporter, which is also hilarious. I don't know if people realize that.
Right.
But the reporter that's in The Howling, that's next to Dee Wallace through the whole movie, the guy with the blonde hair, he's the guy that's the same reporter playing the same character at the end of Gremlins when he goes, "We got reports of little green men."
Yep.
It's the same guy. And I believe they even stuck there's even a callback with the smiley face sticker on the fridge too.
That's true. That's true. I often forget about that guy, but yes, I do remember that they are the same guy. So yes, you're right. It is a spiritual sequel, or at least it's set in the same world. So
yeah, but instead of like the characters going to a small town like setting and running into monsters, the monsters come to the small town setting. So there's like a little reverse play there, like it's kind of thing.
Yeah.
And with Gizmo, you have kind of the transformation like a werewolf, and all that kind of stuff, and like the rules and the all that business. Gremlins to me is the quintessential Joe Dante film, though.
Oh, definitely.
Between that and Gremlins 2, like those two films capture him the best, I think. And then you throw the Burbs in there for the charm.
Well, I love the Burbs. I love that is a great flick. Now you're talking my language. I could do Gremlins 2, The Burbs, and Howling, man.
Dante makes like 3 different kind of pictures. He makes a scary movie, he makes a charming, funny movie, or he makes a batshit crazy Looney Tunes movie. Like those are the 3 types of movies that Joe Dante makes. You're not getting anything else out of the guy, and I love him for it. He's one of my favorite directors for that. Like the Birds and Inner Space are so synonymous, right? Like they're 2 very similar films, very charming, endearing comedies. Gremlins and The Howling, very similar in their tone. Gremlins 2 and Looney Tunes Back in Action, very similar in their tone. Again, he only makes like 3 different kinds of movies. So.
And in fact that he made like this scary movie out of Gremlins.
Small Soldiers is kind of like Small Soldiers or whatever it is kind of a mix between Gremlins and Inner Space. So you have both kind of crossing over there. It's really weird.
It is. Brian Barth wants to know why there is only one DVD facility left in the U.S. because they closed all the other ones.
Because they thought they were on the verge of killing physical media. They did not expect the pandemic and other things to factor in. Plus, we just have a situation where I think they just finally realized, oh shit, they're not ready to get rid of it yet. DVD still sells very well.
Yeah. I mean, I see people buying DVDs all the time. Like I said, Walmart, they literally just sell DVDs and they're like constantly selling out of the DVDs they have. So the physical media is not as dead as some would have you think it is.
No, DVD is still a big portion. And that's why, Disney learned their lesson on this whole like day and date, even though they were making $30 a pop on it. They were killing their secondary and third markets, right? Like you can only get people to buy it once now. I doubt that Black Widow is nearly going to sell as many Blu-rays and DVDs as the last couple Marvel movies have for that reason.
Right.
It'll be interesting to compare it to like the last couple of Marvel movies when the dust settles here. Because every time I go to a store, I don't really see any gone from Walmart's. Every time I went to a Best Buy, the only ones I see even have a dent in them is the Steelbooks.
Yeah, because I think everybody picks up like this, like the hardcore steelbook people will pick up the steelbook no matter what movie it is.
And there is the Marvel people who are like me. I am kind of a completist, whether I like it or not. But I've been holding out for 3D versions, and now I heard earlier from Robert that Black Widow is in 3D, but it's in Japan. So I'm gonna have to fucking figure out how to import that.
Yeah, that. See, like I'm a completist too, but like you, but I just can't seem to bring myself to getting Black Widow, Captain Marvel, even Shang-Chi.
The only reason
get the Eternals, I guarantee on that one.
I kind of want to get, and yeah, Eternals. I don't know yet, but the only reason I got like Captain Marvel and a couple of the other ones is because they actually brought them out in 3D in other countries. So I'm like, I better grab them now. Even though I'll probably never watch Captain Marvel, it's still sitting in the fucking plastic. But the chances of them releasing that on 3D Blu-ray again are none.
That's true. That's true.
So even if I never watch it, I could probably resell it at some point if I get desperate.
See, there was a time though, like I have up until Black Panther, because I have every single Marvel movie up till then, and then I kind of just dropped off after Captain Marvel. I just couldn't bring myself to bring it in, and like there was a point where I was like, I wouldn't even own Iron Man 3, but then I ended up buying Iron Man 3 because I had to have it, to make the collection. And now it's just like, I don't know, man. Marvel, I don't know. I just something
so
about
far,
it.
Black Widow's been my demarcation, but it's now that I know there's a 3D Blu-ray out there, and I actually didn't hate Black Widow. I actually like most of the movie. It's that last portion I hate.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I heard it's actually an alright movie up until then. Huh?
Have you seen it yet or no?
No, I haven't seen it yet. That's why I said like
it's just the end is absurd. Like that last third is just a complete. It takes a great concept of what they're doing, and then it just goes completely off the rails at the last. Third.
Yeah. See, I watched the last Marvel thing I watched was WandaVision, and I kind of liked WandaVision. I didn't think it was too bad.
I checked out halfway through.
Yeah, I mean, I finished it. It was a struggle to get to the end, but then after that, I was like, I think I'm going to take a break from superhero.
When I learned they pulled the bait and switch on us with Quicksilver, I was out.
Yeah,
I didn't watch Winter Soldier and
neither did I. I didn't watch that or Loki because
I watched one episode of Loki and I'm like, fuck this shit, I'm out. After the first episode,
I liked the WandaVision for up to, like you said, up till the point where they like tricked you on Quicksilver and everything. But I finished it. I finished it and I was like, and then like I was like, that's it. I kind of checked out the Marvel universe from that. I don't know why. I was like, I think I'm gonna take the Marvel universe on the back burner for a minute.
There was some other. Now that you mention it. There was some animated comic book property cartoon that's getting a Blu-ray release. Fuck, what was it?
And the Superman the animated series
just came out. That just came out. This is something else that's coming, and I can't remember what it is now. God darn it.
Is it a Marvel or DC or something?
I think it's a DC one, but it could have... Pretty sure it's a DC one. Because they already have now, so they have Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League's on Blu-ray, and now Superman is. What's left?
Static Shock.
No, something else is bigger than that. Shit. I can't remember now, but I swear I heard something else is getting, kind of how like Superman just crept up on us, and they're like, "Boom! Here's Superman
like here it is."
Like, I heard that was kind of what it's going to be. Like, I heard it's coming soon too, and I can't remember what the fuck it is now. And I just heard this, and my brain is mush because I've gotten like 4 hours of sleep in the last 2 days. Shit, my guy told me about it, and I'm so pissed now.
Have a good night, Brian.
Yeah, take care, Brian.
Yeah.
Matinee was a damn good one too, Glinzer. Yeah, you're right.
That was Matinee with
that was more the Burbs kind of charming kind of realm. Yeah.
Bruce Campbell's part.
No, Shazam's already on Blu-ray. Because I got Shazam the series on Blu-ray.
Oh, is Shazam on the series on Blu-ray? I didn't know that.
Shazam's on Blu-ray.
I know Wonder Woman is. Batman 60 is.
And the Hulk just came out again.
The Hulk. The Spider-Man TV series?
No, I would remember that.
I don't know. I can't think of much.
It's not Super Friends. It's not Super Friends.
Is it the other?
Maybe it's the Batman. It might be the one with Adam West and stuff when he did the voice on the cartoon. That might be it. But I don't think so. That's not ringing. That's not. I'll remember it like 20 minutes after we get off the air.
Yeah, like he'll go, damn it, that's what it is.
That's what it was.
All right then. But yes, it was good picks. I liked your picks tonight, Tom. Those were good ones.
Yeah, I was actually happy to get to watch some of these movies, especially like Demons and a couple other ones for Halloween I watched. Beyond the Doors one I've been wanting to see for a while. Sadly, it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. I was hoping to be a lot more cheesier and exploitative than it was. But that's okay because the giant spider invasion made up for that. And the only sad part is I had to buy it on its own.
Yeah,
But it's
it
pretty decent transfer. It's from the negative, which is actually pretty rare because from what I remember from the documentary, a lot of the negatives and shit for Bill's movies are not exactly
not
the
very
best.
well preserved.
Yeah. No, but the documentary is very interesting. And the type of movies that he made, I'm sure you're gonna dig.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't
no, I
wait
love
to
those
I can't
movies.
wait to get into some of these. Like the ones that look the most interesting are like the Alpha Incident looks really good. The game looked kind of interesting too, but Invasion Earth and the Demons of Ludlow probably looked like the most
Oh, that one sounds good.
interesting. Or an Invasion Inner Earth sounded pretty interesting too. But Twister's Revenge is like a way different movie. Like that's like an action kind of movie. So I've heard a lot of things about that. And he also did a movie with Tiny Tim that's not in this set too. That's another one I'm gonna get my hands on. Where
That's
Tiny
cool.
Tim is in it and he plays like a clown. That's one of his latter films. But yeah, no, like I'm kind of glad I discovered this.
Yeah,
Rediscovered it, like I said, I should say.
it looks like a cool box set. Like I said, I've actually had my eye on that one, and the guy from Florida that we talked about earlier, it came from the swamp because those two movies. That's up my alley. You know, I love those crazy old B movies like that, especially like from Mystery to Science Theater 3000 and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's right up my alley. But Mr. Plague Doctor and Anthony Draven says, "Is it Invincible that you were thinking about?"
No,
No.
it's something a little bit more popular, but I can't remember now because it was something on because it got on the conversation of Superman, and they mentioned something else was coming. It was down on the pipeline, and we'll be hearing about it soon. But I wouldn't be surprised because a lot of classic Warner stuff might even be a TV show. I could be wrong completely. I could be like thinking, but it's still Warner related. So like that's the thing is like Warner right now they're doing a really good job of upgrading a lot of their rescanning a lot of their stuff for HBO Max.
Yeah.
And at least they're being smart and releasing it on disc as well.
Wonder if they'll do that with Lois and Clark.
That's what I've been saying they need to do, and I wish that was it.
I wish
that was the one I was going to say, but that's not it. And I think it has something to do with Batman. That's what's pissing me off because I think it's supposed to tie in with, they're going to release more they'll re-release a bunch of Batman shit next year when the Batman comes out.
Oh, when the Batman, yeah.
That's why I swear it's something Batman related, but I cannot.
It could be the Batman cartoon show that aired. There was a newer Batman cartoon show that aired.
Well, I'm thinking it was like the one that was a spin-off of Super Friends, or one that Super Friends was a. No, Smallville did just come out though.
Yeah, Smallville just came out on Blu-ray.
They needed to redo the first 2 seasons of that, I think.
I think it was like the first 3, maybe
3. Yeah, because those were shot in HD and widescreen, but they edited them and did the first couple seasons of special effects. I think they did them in. Here's the thing, they're fucked up because there was HD masters of them, but they were only in like 720p, I think, or something like that. So they weren't full 1080p, so they had to go back and redo like the first 3 seasons or something like that. I think you're right. Mike would probably know if he's still in the chat, probably.
Yeah, I think Mike left us.
But they finally got to it. It's an expensive ass box set. Sadly, I'm not a big fan of like the last 3 seasons or so. So like, I don't know if I'll ever pick it up. If I find it for a decent price, I will.
I want it. I'm a pretty big fan of Smallville. I wasn't a fan of like where you say you're not a fan of the last 3 seasons. I'm not a fan of like from season 6 to 7 and 5, half of 5.
Like season 10 really did it for me. Like I was really pissed about season 10. And I'm trying to remember season 9, I think was the one with the fake Lex Luthor guy, and I hated that one. And
oh yeah.
None of the shit they did with Zod went like a little.
See, I like the guy that played Zod.
I liked it, but then they went like a totally different, like weird. I'm trying to remember. It's been so many years since I watched it. But you're right, like because I remember like between season 6 or 7, you're right, like things kind of went wacky. Then they brought it back. It was doing okay.
Yeah.
Then it went off the rails again, and until the end, it was just completely off the rails.
Yeah.
But that was.
And I met Michael Rosenbaum and Sam Witwer. I met them.
Oh, cool.
I have pictures with them.
No, and I mean,
it was right after the Doomsday season.
You can tell that show was really only made to be 5 seasons.
Yeah, you can tell because especially when the budget, like, and they started like slashing the budget more and more each year.
Well, my other gripe was, why is the show called Smallville when we spend more time in Metropolis? Why didn't they just switch the show over to
Yeah,
Metropolis and just call it Metropolis?
that's what I get to. I mean, like it's like there's like no flights, no tights. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of the Smallville show. I actually like Tom Welling as him, even though the show pissed me off a lot at times. I mean,
now
it pissed me off a lot.
I heard now the real reason why he never wanted the tights thing, because I guess he's bow-legged.
That makes sense. But I mean, like, there comes a time you can keep saying this is Smallville. Oh, this is about Clark and Smallville, Clark Smallville. But when he's like 30 years old and he's in Metropolis with Lois Lane, I mean, it's no longer Smallville.
Yeah, he's definitely not it's not anymore. And they got him flying around and shit, and he's wearing everything but the suit, and it's just gotten to a point where it's like
they do like the phone booth, and he just goes into the phone booth, puts on a blue shirt, and zips up a leather jacket with the S on it. It's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but I mean, just call him Superman, not the Blur. I mean, the Blur is that was the stupidest name they could come up with.
I don't think they ever brought in Darkseid, but they did bring in the
they did bring in Darkseid at the end.
I can't remember now. That's right. Yeah, and then there was just so much of that shit where it got so soap opera-y in some
it did. I mean, I like the show, but yeah, see, I like the show because
I love the first 4 or 5 seasons are fucking solid as shit.
Yeah, yes, they are, and the reason I like some of the later halves after like season 6 and 7 is because it gets so cheesy, and I like cheesy bad stuff.
I do love some of it. Like, I loved when they did like their own version of the Justice League. Some of that stuff was kind of cool. When they had like the little like event deal where it was like 2 or 3 episodes that strung together, that was all kind of cool. And I remember that box set was neat because you opened up, I think it was season 6 or 7 now. Maybe it was 7, because I think it was when it started getting better again. But you open it up and it has that nice, layout of all 4 or 5 of them there kind of walking. Mm-hmm. Like it had its moments, and it was really cool to see different kind of iterations of the Superman heroes or villains, and certain villains that we never have gotten to see before in any real incarnation outside of animation. And even in some of those cases, we didn't get a lot of them. I mean, Superman's got a lot of villains that are kind of cool, but they never really get a lot of attention.
Yeah, because they always get Lex Luthor or Zod, which is cool, which I like, but there are villains out there that
like Brainiac and
Bizarro,
Pidlick. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great. Yeah, sure, he doesn't have.
The Parasite would be a good one.
Parasite's a great one. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the rogues gallery that Batman has. But,
that's true.
But he still has a good group of bad guys, and I think for the most part they did a good job on the earlier bits of the Smallville. But yeah, I do enjoy some of the cheesy stuff. But when Rosenbaum left, I wasn't a fan of the guy they brought in instead. Some of the stuff they did with Lionel later, a lot of the shit they did with his mom really pissed me off.
Yeah,
like it went completely in random directions with her, and there was just certain aspects of the show after a while where it's like, who's not going to have fucking Clark's powers at some point in the show?
Exactly. And then Lana, oh my god, Lana, and then like they tease you, like they show you the Lex Luthor super suit, and then Lana gets it, and it's like this invisible force field around here that makes her Superman.
It's there was some really dumb shit at some points, and it's just like,
exactly. It was like, oh my god.
And that's where I unless I come across it for like under maybe $60, which is unlikely.
So the thing is, same with you, same here. I mean, I already
got HBO Max, and I'm sure it'll be on there if it is.
Yeah, that's true. So. I have every season.
I used to have a bunch of them on DVD.
Or DVD. I mean, I have every season on DVD, and like a few of them on I think the last couple seasons, the only ones they put on Blu-ray. So like I have them. So they'll suit me fine until I find it for a decent price.
Yeah, Glinzer. When they made her a senator, and then she was part of all that secret cult shit or whatever fuck it was, and all kinds of like. They made it out like she knew more than she actually really knew all this time.
Yeah, and they called her like the Red Queen.
Fucking kidding me? Like, this is getting way bizarro here. I don't mean bizarro Superman bizarre. I mean just fucking bizarre. And like some of the shit they did with Lionel too was just like, give me a fucking break. I mean, I did like Lionel when he was a good guy better. But they had this whole this part I do remember. They had that whole convoluted thing that went over time where it's just like, now wait a minute here. like all this time Lionel is doing all these things to protect Clark. It's like, I can't buy that shit. None of that makes any fucking sense whatsoever. None of it.
It's true.
Like,
it's true.
Granted, there's that slight thing that like, yes, Lionel was that, you know, he was like Lex, but not quite. Like, he's twisted, but not quite as twisted as Lex, right? Like,
right.
So there's a bit of humanity in Lionel. So I can understand Lionel understanding certain things about Clark and not completely blowing, you know, the thing out of the water. But this whole convoluted idea that every last move he ever made, all the threats and all the bullshit, all this time was because he was part of the secret organization that actually knew Clark existed and he was a secret savior and they were are you fucking mad? Like, and then didn't they bring in like Bizarro World fucking version of him too at some point where
because Lex killed him because that was like
he was dead.
That was like Lex's transformation into Lex Luthor. He kills his father because you know that he's the monster that he's supposed to be.
I'm sure I'm skipping over a bunch of shit and getting a few things kind of muddy, and then, like, because it's been 20 years since I watched the show. But
and then like Lex leaves, Mike Rosenbaum leaves, and then like, what do we do? We'll bring back Lionel from Earth 2.
Earth 2, like,
and he's the evil Lionel that you guys remember from the first one, but maybe a little more evil.
It's just like, how much more convoluted can we make this shit? It's like, what's his face who played Pa Kent? He knew when to get was good, man. Like,
I really think that's, like you said, was like 5 seasons. That's really when the show.
Done. Yeah, he's like, I'm it. They said I'm out.
Like halfway through season 5, when they killed him off with the heart attack, and that pretty much slowed the show down.
The last season, that
should have been like his dad dies and he puts on a suit and it's over.
Or you don't even have to get to that point. You just have the point where after the death, he deals with it for a little bit. You wrap and tie up all the what you can, and then you just end the show with him, looking over at if he has the suit or whatnot or whatever in the crystal, whatever's there, and you set it up to where, now he's going to go do his thing. We know what's going to happen from here on out, and that's the way I expected the show to always end. I never expected to even see him in the full regalia. Like, it was kind of like,
you could tell that Tom, he was never going to wear it. So
it was like, even when we did get it, it was such a cheat. And it was such a much to do about nothing. Like that last episode there, the two or three last episodes that went together to make up the finale were just such a letdown. Because of that big major time jump. And it was so cool because they got back, what's his face, Rosenbaum to play Lex, but then they wasted him. He was like hardly even it was just like, didn't he have like amnesia or some stupid shit?
Like he knew Clark was Superman and everything, and then like his sister rubs something on his cheek and he loses.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot he had a fucking sister too.
Yeah.
Which she was one of the worst fucking characters ever.
Tess.
Great actress, don't get me wrong. Nothing against the actress, but the fucking character is fucking horrible. I fucking hated that character.
I know, they made her so bad. And then almost every episode they had somebody beating her up. Even Clark beat her up.
She was just as convoluted as her dad.
Right.
Like, you talk about the shit with Lionel, like, fuck, she was worse. Like, 1 minute she wants to fuck Clark, the next she wants to kill him, and that's all I remember is like, what the fuck is going on here? Sister's cousin's former roommate, exactly. Like, Lex didn't have no goddamn sister.
I mean, even though it gets bad, that's one of the reasons why I like Smallville even still, is like, because I like the show. I like even it gets really bad, really cheesy, and it reminds me of like those old bad cheesy TV shows and movies. So
here's the kind of Lex Luthor I want. Lex Luthor, if he had any siblings, he killed them.
Oh yeah,
he'd find a way to make it look like an accident, but he would still make sure that he is the only child.
Yeah,
he is that self-centered. That's something you put in a story, right? Like Lex had like another sibling, but he fucking killed him. Right?
Which they tried to say sort of, but then he really didn't.
Wasn't it with mom? With the mom thing. Like that. See, there's some great places that show went, right? Like, and it really did, especially when it was starting to tie in and paying a lot of homage to the Christopher Reeve Superman and all. Like, I love
that episode when he showed up was like probably their best.
Yeah, as far as anything after the latter bits of that point, where like, so that was what, season 6?
No, that was actually season 2. They
Oh, it was
brought him
earlier
back.
on, wasn't it? That's right.
Yeah, it's season 2.
Here's my
I believe.
problem with the show. I started watching it, I think, during the 4th season, because people bugged the piss on me because they knew how much of a, like, Superman is like my favorite superhero, right? If you don't count Ninja Turtles as superheroes,
Yeah, Superman's my
Superman's my guy.
all-time favorite.
Yeah, so like, I mean, if you make me choose between Batman and Superman, I'll take Superman almost every time.
100%.
And basically, though, like, people are bugging me, like, you gotta watch the show, you gotta watch it. So I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't, for the same reason I didn't really want to get into Gotham or any of these other shows that don't have the superhero in them. It's like, I get it, Clark's there, which that helps, but they told me from the start they're not going to let him be Superman. Why should I watch it? I don't want to watch Superboy. I hate Superboy. I think Superboy's dumb. Like, to me, Superman is Clark Kent until he disappears for a few years. That's why he's a Christ-like figure, because he spends all that time learning and honing his abilities with this, the whole thing in the Fortress. That's my Superman. And then he reemerges and he's Superman, right? Like, none of this first flight shit, none of this. I mean, that was some cool bits in Man of Steel, but I don't care about Superman becoming Superman in the first day of Superman being Superman. That's stupid. Superman is Superman for a reason. He's Superman. He's perfect from the start, right? Like, no, he's not perfect, but I mean, when he emerges as Superman, it's that way for a reason, right? Like, I just don't like this whole idea of him learning as he goes kind of thing. Like, that's Batman. That's not Superman. Superman learns all the lessons he needs to learn from his father. He learns his powers growing up. That's his learning process. I don't need to see all that. You can put that in 20 minutes of a movie, easy. Right?
Right.
I don't need a whole fucking thing. But no, so I got into the show and it sucked me in. So then I went back and rewatched it from the start, because at that time it was a little harder, kids.
Yeah, it was a little, you had to buy the DVDs if
Either
they
had
were
to buy it or what have you. But I got lucky because this just happened to be at the time that HDNet came around, and since that was one of the shows that was in HD, they ran it at nausea. So I got lucky that I caught it from the beginning, and as long as I caught every single fucking episode, because they would show it like 4 or 5 times a day, I caught them all. That was when I first bought a DVD recorder and shit, man. I was like, so they, like, the first 4 or 5 seasons, I binged those in, matter of weeks at that time. That was the closest we had to the binge model, because Netflix hadn't even really started. They did their online stuff, but it wasn't nearly what it was now. Like, they literally had like maybe 30 fucking movies on there if you're lucky, and a couple of specials and documentaries and shit, and a bunch of TV shows, but not even like real good TV shows, like public domain shit, like all that kind of stuff, like a bunch of random cartoons and episodes of stuff. So it was real shitty stuff when they first started. But yeah, no, you had to either seek it out, rent it, buy it, like you said. It was not the easiest thing to do. So no, I finally got caught up with it. So, like, that's another reason why my memory of the show is really kind of flip-flopped all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
I saw it completely out of random order, and then I think I rewatched it again almost all the way through, and then I gave up somewhere around season 6 or 7. Because, just when it started sucking again, I just
it got really bad around 6 and 7. And then, like you said, it did come back in, and then it kind of got really cheesy near the end. And like, they were grasping at straws to try to bring back everybody they could.
No, it was a good show, though. I mean, for what we got to remember, this was not like a streaming show where we only got 10 episodes a season or whatever. No, you actually got 20 some episodes a season.
Yeah, there was like down to almost like 24 episodes by the end.
Yeah, there's a lot of filler, though. That's my point. Is like,
I think that's the biggest problems with like those type of shows.
Yeah,
is like they'll go for like 22, 24 episodes a season when they really should be about 12 episodes long at the most.
So by the time you're getting to the latter seasons of that show, you can almost kind of guess the beats.
Yeah,
that it's going to kick off
down pretty pat.
Yeah, it's going to kick off with whatever set off the last season. Then it's going to get slow for a while. Then they're going to set up something in the middle. And then that's going to be a red herring for something that's going to get set up 2/3 of the way into the season to set up the finale, which is always going to be a cliffhanger.
Yes.
And then those last few seasons, they were kind of like iffy on whether or not they were coming back at certain points. So they were kind of whatever. And then at the last minute, they get renewed. So they were always kind of wrapping shit up real quick, and then it was like, oh, we got to open up some more storylines.
Yep.
And that was the problem the show had.
Yes. That
But
was
anyway, we
what.
went way too long talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Smallville.
And oh yeah, well they are like they mentioned in the chat here that Tom Welling and Michael Rosenman has pitched an animated
I heard about this.
continuation where he will be Superman and their voices.
Maybe this is what I was thinking.
That might be it hasn't
think
been.
that's
I don't think it's
happening.
been greenlit yet, but they're it'll be their
I think I heard
voices,
that's happening.
and it'll be the continuation of Smallville with Clark as Superman.
I think I heard
Yeah.
that's happening for like an HBO Max special or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, that could be good if it done right. So we'll see how that goes. And you know, considering they actually continued the series in comic book form,
Maybe it was like something else. Maybe it was like Thundercats. Now that I'm thinking about, maybe it was I heard like Thundercats or something like that was getting.
maybe.
Does Warner Brothers own that?
Well, it was on Cartoon Network, so probably.
Well, Rankin and Bass made it, but I don't know who actually owns. I think you're right. That maybe that's what it is, folks. Well, in a month or so, if you hear announcement for Thundercats, you know I was right.
There you go.
It makes sense because aren't they making that live action movie of it now too? I think so. Yeah.
I think so. I think I heard something about them making a movie about it. Yeah, I do believe they are making a live action movie about it.
Yeah, I know. And now that Techman's saying, I'm pretty sure I remember hearing about the Smallville thing getting greenlit.
Yeah,
maybe that's why we got down the Smallville path because I knew it was something animated and it was something to do with something classic, and I was like off my fucking rocker because I've literally had like 4 hours of sleep in the last 2 days.
Yeah. So
it has sucked between my animals and work. It's just like I need a fucking vacation.
I can't blame you, man. But I guess we'll close it out. Thank you for coming on. Like I said, I mean, if I would have known everybody, you know, couldn't make it, and you had other obligations, I might have, you know, canceled the show.
That was a last minute thing. Like I did not expect to get brought on with those guys, and of course, like you know, I'm just thank you for pushing it back a little bit. And
yeah, no problem.
I don't know how many people showed up tonight, but I'm glad for those who did. Thank you for being
and
here.
We actually had a pretty good audience. So
good.
Thank you to everybody that showed up. Techman Blade, Glizner, Martin Acosta, Dutch crazy Dutch bastard guy. I can't remember his name.
And for those who migrated over here, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes.
So I did
Cosmic Squirrel, thank you for showing up. And thanks some. And like I'll be the first one to admit that I'm a huge, like you said, I'm a huge Superman fan. So sometimes I'm much like those people where like I like the show. I don't know what you're talking about. That is shitty. So you know, sometimes I got those blinders on. You know what I mean? When it comes to Superman stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
even though in like even my heart I know, oh, that was bad, but I'm like, I'm Superman.
it's of two worlds. See, because I'm more of a fan of the more, yes, Sadie, of the more fantasy oriented Superman, I guess. Maybe I do like some of the sci-fi elements, but to me, like the Man of Steel version was going way too into the sci-fi. It was missing a little bit of that fantasy element to it. I mean, Superman just should have a twinkle in his eye. You don't have to make it like bright and beautiful. That's not my problem with the movie. It just there's certain elements that you need to have to make Superman who he is. Like I think somebody said it in the chat, he's the big blue Boy Scout. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
he's an all-American Boy Scout. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Plague Doctor. Like, yeah, he is, and there's nothing wrong with that. Embrace that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like Captain America. All you got to do is do that. Just do that. What they did for Captain America. In fact, they did a better Superman with Captain America.
I know that's like when I'm watching Winter Soldier, I'm like,
right?
This is essentially Superman right now.
Or Civil War, especially too. Like,
yeah,
like that's what Superman. That's a better Batman v Superman than fucking BBS. Yeah, like Civil War got it right. You had the two guys on either side. And, you know, Batman is that kind of guy that he would hide information from you, right? Like, because he would think it would be better for you. But then Superman, on the other hand, would be like, no, fuck you. But even though it's kind of reversed in this case, it was that like that kind of dynamic would play out with Batman and Superman, right? It would be the opposite characters, but they still got it right there, it felt like to me. And that's why I enjoyed Civil War so much, because that dynamic was there, that it wasn't there. It was so simple in Civil War that it was overcomplicated in BBS. It's not that difficult. These two guys would never see eye to eye, right? Like, it's not that hard to do. You know? Just like the Joker said, all you need is a little push. So you just have Lex Luthor playing puppet master in the background, feeding shit to Bruce Wayne. Like, we got to take care of this alien. We got to do something about this alien. He's going to take over, blah, 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 blah. And the whole time Superman, and, it's real simple. Superman would not like Batman. They got that part right, I guess. And they got that in there, but it's just so much shit on top of it. Anyway,
Right.
We're talking way too much about
this. But yeah, thank you again, Tom, coming on.
So much for your short show, Greg. I'm so sorry.
Well, hey, it is shorter than what we've been going. We're just quite 2 hours.
Greg's like, we're gonna do a half hour.
Yeah, because I didn't, I figured we started late and we wasn't going to bring a whole lot, and then hey, we turned into a pretty good 2 hour long show. It was pretty fun.
Wow, I don't think we ever have a hard time finding shit to talk about.
Yeah.
So.
But once again, thank you to everybody in the chat. Everybody's watching. Tom, appreciate it. And as always,
how you doing? Bitches leave.